Parenthood. I would stop funding for Planned Parenthood. Senator Santorum is a ardent defender of earmarks. I am in favor of a ban on earmarks. The senator also voted, I think, 5 different times to raise the debt ceiling without getting compensating cuts in spending. That's not something I would do. I want to cut spending and cap it and ultimately have a balanced budget. So there's some differences on issues, but I think our differences are probably those which stand out the most. Thank you, Angela. And anything else you want to add to that, sweetie?
I just want to make it clear, young voters, because I don't think they truly understand where their tax dollars are going to go when they're adults. And their tax dollars that they're going to give to the government are going to be only spent to bring down the debt. And it's not going to go to things like defense or other programs that we just assume money will always just be there. And our America that we know now is going to be so different in your generation if we don't elect someone, and that's why Barbara Bush said this is the most important election. If we don't elect someone that understands this and understands how to fix it, your generation is sunk, and America will be a different place. And for us, it's really clear, and we try to tell as many college-age kids as possible that you guys had better figure this out, and you'd better vote to save your own generation in such a way that you'll be able to preserve this country and the freedoms and the liberties that we enjoy. I don't think people recognize how close we are to a precipice and how close we are to facing something like a Greek-like debt, where this country is just gonna run out of money, and no one's big enough to bail America out.
Thank you, Angela, and Dan, thank you. Let's go to the next question.
Excellent. I do want to remind people that they can press 1 on their phone to indicate that they have that you have their support. And that, again, is 1 on your touch-tone phone if you can count on supporting Governor Romney in your primary next Tuesday. Governor, our next question is going to come from Jackson, Mississippi, and we have Joanne on the line.
Hi, Joanne. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And welcome to our state.
Well, thank you so much.
This question has probably been asked several times. I'm sure it has, but I have not heard it. I would like to know your plans to reduce gasoline prices.
Well, thank you so much. And, I begin by, again, doing almost the opposite of what you're seeing President Obama do. President Obama put a moratorium on drilling in the Gulf. I would open up the Gulf for deep-sea drilling. And by the way, there are more drilling rigs that are sitting idle in the Gulf than any other place in the world. Let's get those drilling rigs drilling for oil again in this country. I'd also make sure that we open up, to the extent legally possible, the lands in our federal lands for drilling for oil and gas, and provide permits to those that have been authorized to be able to drill for oil and gas. So from places like North Dakota and Oklahoma and Texas, we're able to get the oil and gas that we need in this country. And I would fight to open up Alaska resources, ANWR, and offshore outer continental shelf resources, so we can start drilling for oil and gas here in this country, and can finally be secure and independent of the oil cartels, which have the capacity to make prices spike or tank, depending upon what their policies are. We're right now subject to worry about the Iranians closing the Strait of Hormuz, and that worry has caused prices to go up. Were we to have an ample supply of our own oil in this country, while we can increase our flow and try and moderate these swings in prices you're seeing by virtue of world affairs. This president has also made another decision, which I think is a very bad one, and that is he has said no to the Keystone Pipeline, which would bring oil in from Canada. That strikes me as a pretty easy decision to make the right way. We've got to bring that oil in. It makes all the sense in the world to have it come to the United States rather than going off to China, which is where it'll go if this pipeline continues to be blocked by the president. So you have a president who is high gasoline prices. His Secretary of the Energy Department said that he'd be comfortable with gasoline prices as high as in Europe, and that's $8 or $9 a gallon. Look, I want to start drilling in this country to make sure that we're able to moderate prices and keep these gasoline prices from crushing the American families. We're just seeing so many folks that are having a very, very hard time with high gasoline prices. Ann, would you want to make any comment?
Well, I just think it's wonderful for us to be able to go across the country and speak to people like you and hear your voices, because they're the voices we all need to hear, and we all need to express again more frustration with this administration and how important it is to make sure to elect the right person to get in there and shake things up again. And so you're going to face an important election on Tuesday, and I really hope that you go out and vote for Mitt, because by doing that, you bring us one step closer to removing President Obama.
Okay, Dan, shall we go to the next question?
Absolutely. I think we have time probably for one more question. Before we do that, I do want to let everybody know that if we did not get a chance to get to your question, just wait on the line, and at the end of the teletown hall, you will actually be directed to a voicemail system. So if you have a question about Governor Romney's policies, if you have a question about how to vote on Tuesday, if you have a question about how to get more involved in her campaign in Mississippi, and we have a full team down in Mississippi, they've been working around the clock, so they will get in touch with you and return your calls. And again, if you stay on the line, you'll be directed to a voicemail system at the conclusion of the telephone town hall. Also, until the end of the call, you can always press 1 on your phone if you'd like to indicate that Governor Romney can count on your support. With that, Governor, we'll go to our last question. And our last question will be from Charles in Meridian.
Hello, Charles. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. I appreciate your coming to Mississippi. We support your candidacy, and just wanted to state I'm a native of Mississippian, retired naval officer, returned back to a conservative, and we support your conservatism as well. I want to further say that I support your position in defending the defense budget and so forth, but to cut national spending, whatever. But I also wanted to know, we've heard some rumors and whatever about the qualifications of President Obama with regards to it being a natural citizen, native. And I wonder, is there any way of validating that or invalidating that?
Well, I can't tell you my own view on that topic is that he is a U.S. citizen, natural born, and qualified to be president. There's no question about that in my mind. So that's not one that I would worry about. But I do worry about his policies and think that his policies are making it harder for our economy, making it harder for working families to make ends meet, and frankly putting our nation in more danger long term by virtue of his plans to dramatically cut our military budget. We have, as you know, since Roosevelt, been able to potentially be in 2 conflicts at once. And this president has decided to eliminate that safety, if you will, gap there, that safety cushion that we have, and instead be able to be engaged in only 1 conflict at a time. And he's also planning on cutting the budget by $500 billion to as much as $1 trillion over a 10-year period. His Secretary of Defense said that would present a doomsday scenario, and yet he proceeds. And I find that just almost impossible to understand. And as a result, if I'm the President of the United States, I will not cut our defense commitment. I will increase our purchases of ships. I'll increase our purchases of F-35 aircraft. That's the new fighter. I will increase the number of active duty personnel in our military.
again, want to encourage people that have called in and listening in that they go out and vote on Tuesday. We are going to be in Mississippi and Alabama for the next couple of days, and it's important for all of us to do whatever we can to make sure that we put the strongest candidate forward to defeat Barack Obama. And my husband is that strongest candidate, and I'm looking forward to seeing the chance for him to get in and be in that office and make the decisions that are going to bring some sanity back to Washington, D.C. I also can tell you that he is a man of great character, and for me, those things matter. And I have seen him our whole married life do things with integrity, with honesty and decency. And it's been a joy for me to have him be a father to my 5 sons, and to know that my 5 sons are now functioning and operating like they did with their dad, how they saw their dad, which is being wonderful husbands and fathers. And so there's great joy in my life in seeing the payback of what it's like to live a life of integrity and decency, and for having our children now surround us and support us and love us. So, you get someone that competency and on top of that character, and I don't know how you can beat that combination.
Well, thank you. That's that young lady who you just heard from, my wife of 42 years, is somewhat biased in my favor, but I'm glad she thinks so highly of me, and I appreciate the chance to have spoken with you today. I'm anxious to have your support and anxious to have you doing the work necessary to get out and vote on Tuesday. You've got a full day of primary. I want you to know that I'm also proud to have the support of a number of the people who you know and respect very highly. Your governor, Phil Bryant, has endorsed my candidacy. Your auditor, Stacey Pickering, has endorsed my candidacy. Senator Thad Cochran, likewise. Your Secretary of State and others have been very generous in supporting my effort, and I think that communicates, or that indicates that those people who are very close to the various candidates and got a chance to see us on a personal basis and learned about our respective capabilities have been kind enough to conclude that I'm the guy to become our nominee and to beat Barack Obama. So I hope you'll join with me and expressing, if you see them or hear from them, your appreciation for their endorsement. Ann mentioned that Barbara Bush has also been out helping us and endorsed my effort. She's someone we know quite well and appreciate her support, and her husband's support. George Herbert Walker Bush also said he's supporting my effort. Those are pretty good indications from pretty darn good people, and I appreciate their help and their willingness to come out visibly and support us. So please get out and vote on Tuesday, and we'll look forward to celebrating together. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Town Hall Connect has ended. Thank you for participating in the Romney for President Town Hall Connect. If you have any questions or comments for Governor Romney or his staff, please